What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So I did level 10,000 Void Cascade with Jade the other day, and I want to show you guys the builds and synergies I've been using. On this run, we did a lot of experimentation stuff. I'm using the new Overguard Stealing Arcane on my dual Tox Assist. I'm using Corrosive Blast on my Torid, and I'm doing 13 Corrosive procs with 1 Tox Shard. And I'm playing the newest frame, Jade. So we got a lot of stuff that's being tested in this run that will be new things that were worth checking out on the new updates. So let's get right into it. And we'll also be talking about how to run this Jade build. This is not a normal Jade build. I took the 4th ability off for Nourish. Before we go into this stuff, though, make sure you're subbed this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. Got a ton of build guides and stuff on the way. And also, I want to see if they actually ruin that event. Hilariously, they patched out the main strategy ahead of my event guide from yesterday, like 30 minutes after that video went up. So I guess it's all my fault, huh? Well, either way, I want to see if they ruin the event or not. So let's go ahead and talk about Jade's abilities and what they're going to do on this current build. Alright, so starting off with Jade's passive. Jade's first ability, and technically her 4th ability if you don't helmet it off, can mark enemies with this little debuff. So I throw her first ability, it's like a little nade. That green icon means they're more vulnerable to damage. Additionally, it's a healing area for you as well, but mainly it's just, this ability is mainly just the thing I use to shield gate, to be honest. It's a quick animation, and with brief rest, I get a little bit of shields when I throw this grenade. These enemies are debuffed to take more damage, and additionally, you can have multiple fields out at the same time, but it's mainly just a debuff zone and a shield getting tool for me. Her second ability is going to be it's actually her buff ability. Now, there's a lot to go over here. So, for the Symphony of Mercy, whatever it's called, you got 3 buffs. You got the Shield Regen buff and Shield Regen Delay buff for the third, for this one right here. You can cycle between 3 different buffs. Now, only 1 buff can be active at a time. So, I got a Power Strength buff, a Damage buff, and a Shield Regen buff. Normally, you're going to either have the Shield Regen buff or the Damage buff up, I've noticed. Make sure you got your Power Strength buff up so everyone can cast their abilities. Once their abilities are cast, switch over to the more useful buff. So, Power Strength, great. And then the Deathbringer buff, giving 300% damage right now. With the combination of things we're doing today, we're going to have Overguard, Overshield, and we get constantly Shield Gate. So, not too bad. But yeah, I'm going to keep on the Shield Regen buff right now. And then for the third ability, we're going to show this stuff in action a little bit here. But for the third ability, it's called Open Eyes. It is basically a cone in front of you. Where you're looking, you will remove enemy armor. So it also works on shields too. So I looked at these enemies for like a few seconds. Their shields are all gone, and they're also slowed too. But if you look closely, like that guy right there was not getting slowed or fire proc until I looked directly at him. You have to look basically directly at these enemies to get these effects. So just be aware of that it's a good armor. And also, this is very good for Acolytes. So it's very good for Acolytes. It will take all their shields and all their armor away like near instantly. And since it scales with strength, I've gone for a very high power strength build on my Jade, so I can just buff everything that she does even more. So it's also currently a shield tanking build too, and this will work at level 10,000s against high level Thrax. Alright, let's go ahead and show all the stuff we have. And yeah, she does have a 4th ability to let you fly around and blow stuff up. But again, this is an endurance build, not really meant to have like, AoE goofy fun stuff with that. This is more of a serious high level build. Alright, so let's start with the Archon Shards and all the stuff I'm using here. So we've got 4 Archon Shards for power strength, so we got a total of 60% extra power strength, getting us over 300% before multi-augmented and all that stuff. We've also got a Tau Forged Emerald Archon Shard giving 13 maximum corrosive procs. A lot of people asking me, does 13 procs remove all armor? No, it does not. They did not change that stuff, but the amount of armor they have is capped. So removing, like whatever this is, like 95% of their armor or whatever, is going to be a lot of armor taken away, or rather a lot of DR taken away compared to the old version where like they still have like 90% DR with most all their procs taken away. But as far as the builds, we're going to show all the stuff that's used. Now, I probably could switch out Augur Message for something else. This is the build I ran. We got Growing Power and Brief Rest as our aura mods. Yes, you can have 2 aura mods, another power of a passive. We've got Prime Sure-Footed. Now, the aura mods, we got Growing Power for more power strength after proccing a status effect. This will work for our teammates too. And Brief Respite. Brief Respite is very important for this build, as to kickstart her shield regen. She's kind of like Caliban a little bit. You can't get the shield regen unless you currently have shields. Like, if you don't have any shields at the moment, you will not get that shield regen buff. So, Brief Respite to kickstart the shield regen is kind of nice, actually. We get 30% of our shield per second, and we also have reduced shield recharge delay by 30%. With Fast Deflection, we got 45% reduced right here. I think the shield regen delay is like capped at 90% reduced, so we're at like 70% before Molt Augmented. It goes higher once we do all the like Molt Augmented and Matterized stuff. But yeah, pretty good. It will be like probably about like 40-ish. We'll be maxed out in shield regen delay with that stuff active. Prime Strike, because she has no status immunity, so this is pretty much the way you have to do it. Same with Rolling Guard. If you get like a Fire proc on you from like a Jade Xmas, you want a Rolling Guard to get that off of you. Power Strength is going to scale certain things on her abilities. Mainly going to scale the Armor Strip of Open Eyes. It's going to scale all the buffs of Symphony of Mercy. And it doesn't really buff anything on your one besides like the healing percent per second and the damage. For Nourish, it buffs how much viral damage you get and how much energy multiplier you get. So pretty good there. Now you could just run the exact same build with Roar, but you might have a little bit worse energy economy because we are running Blind Rage right now. Yeah, Prime Redirection gives us a total of 1,200 shields. And of course we can go above that with the overshield cap, giving us about 2.5 second shield gate. So we get 2.5 second shield gate, and we can just refresh that really fast with our shield regen buff from Symphony of Mercy. Now, the only annoying thing about her is recasting her abilities, so Prime Continuity and Augur Message to get plenty of extra duration. It's mainly for recasting Symphony of Mercy because you could. I mean, it's a pretty long animation, to be honest, whenever you recast it. But yeah, every 53 seconds we have to recast this, technically. All right, and as far as the last couple of mods out here, we got Prime Flow, because we are recasting quite a few abilities. 77 energy for Open Eyes, 77 energy for Symphony of Mercy, 38 energy for Light's Judgment, and 77 energy for Nourish. You maybe could get away with taking off Prime Flow, but you only got 427 energy right now, so that's not really a ton. But yeah, it's a shield tanking build as far as the Arcanes, Molt Augmented for 60% power strength, and Arcane Aegis for invincibility whenever this procs. And we have so much shield regen, it will be having the chance to proc quite often. So yeah, pretty nice tank build right there. Now for the Torid, I did put this in my previous videos, yeah, this is what I used, and I did use this for level 10,000. It might have probably needed a main mod, but yeah, we got a Heat Riven to fit all this on here. Corrosive and Blast Torid. Corrosive in Blast is very good on the current patch, but I would be lying to you if I said it felt like extremely, extremely OP. It felt like it was helping. It felt like it was a lot better than the previous version of Blast, but it did not feel like, wow, this is like actually busted. It just felt like this is good. It feels busted in like normal level survivals, but for level 10,000 Void Cascade, it does not feel as busted. But yeah, we had a Corrosive Blast build here. Blast procs were buffed. Now they will do a delayed damage explosion after you hit them, so pretty good. And for the Arcanes, we got Primary Merciless because we're getting so many kills. Now, funny thing here, since we have Deathbringer's 300% damage buff, we don't even really need to use our Merciless Arcane, but this is a nice little chunk of extra damage if you are not currently having to use the shield regen buff. Now, as far as new things here, we have the Dual Toxist Incarnate with the new Secondary Fortifier Arcane. Gain 1 Overguard for every 100 damage dealt to an enemy's Overguard. This will also deal 8 times extra damage to Overguard. So we can shred level 10,000 Overguard with this Arcane, and we can also steal up to 15,000 Overguard for ourselves. It is capped at 15,000 Overguard. But yeah, that being said, this is a Overguard Shredder with this weapon. It didn't even need the damage buff from, like, what was it before? Deadhead before. And I was using Outburst. I think Outburst might still be better than Secondary Fortifier, but this is actually definitely worth trying out. Gives you a little bit of Overguard. Now, at high levels, they shoot through the Overguard in one bullet. But yeah, 15,000 Overguard from shooting an enemy a couple times. Pretty good. And actually, I think Arcane's probably the best one of the bunch currently. Now, let's get into some Steel Path gameplay so we can talk about what is going on there. Actually, I'll show the Diriga build first. I just want to make sure I show you guys all this stuff. I am still using the 147. By the way, Steel Path Void Cascade feels easier than ever. Here's the Glory Exalted weapon I was not using. You can definitely mess with it more, and I will mess with it more. I'll have a Jade Fourth ability build in the future, guys, just not right now. For Diriga, we got the Equilibrium build, even though we got no Equilibrium equipped. Make sure you don't have Mystic Bond. That will mess up your shield getting, and you don't want that to happen. Yeah, basically just making sure we got Tenacious Bond for more crit, and we got Manifold Bond for casting the Diriga ability a lot. Momentous Bond to bring back the dead quickly, and other stuff that's pretty similar to that. Prime Laser Rifle, just there to give us the Tenacious Bond that we want so badly, and the Manifold Bond with maximum procs. Okay, let's get into that Steel Path gameplay. and we're going to talk about how Jade works there. Because Jade is pretty good for level 10,000 missions, but she's not... I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I think Dante is definitely more OP than she is. Like, definitely. Even after, like, the air quotes Dante nerf, Dante is stronger than this. But as far as what's going on here in the footage, we are getting bombarded by level... Actually, I think these guys are like level 8,000. They become level 10,000 at 107 Xalizers, so give it a couple more seconds. We are getting like bombarded by high-level enemies, but since Jade has her crazy shield regen buff, we could actually like somewhat safely tank this. I have to recast it, of course, but once you recast your shield buff, you can face tank these gigantic damage slices. Now there's Corrosive Blast right there, pretty good on that level 8,200. But yeah, the main thing we want to use on these high overguard enemies is going to be the dual Tox with that Arcane. Now look at that. Look at how easy the Thrax Ghost is. They changed how the Thrax Ghost is vulnerable to Void now. I feel like they might have double applied it because I am doing like 5 million damage yellow crits with 1 contamination wave on my 147. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, the Ghost Thrax in Cascade is definitely easier than ever to kill. The body of the Thrax feels kind of normal. There's that Overguard getting instantly shredded. But yeah, the Ghost Thrax itself, like I think this might be a clip right here. I'm going to one-shot this thing with 1 contamination wave. Okay, it wasn't right there, but yeah, either way, 9.4 million is not that crazy for when it's stealing an enemy's body. But yeah, no body steal, like 5 million damage yellow crit. Something is going on with Void Cascade. But yeah, about Jade here. Now, about Jade, we've got the shield regen buff. It works for your allies too. See how I have no buffs active right now? That's why I'm on it for a little bit more duration. I have more duration than you currently see it, because like in this footage, I was actually missing a mod slot. I didn't have Augur Message. So Augur Message was the mod I threw on the last slot. You can throw on like Augur Reach or Augur Secrets, I guess. We have a lot of power strength though. If you jam every power strength thing we have right now, I think we're at like 400 or 500%. And when I got corrupted, the Open 'em Eyes armor strip debuff per second scales to strength. I had 100% armor strip per second when I got corrupted in this mission. So pretty nasty. That's literally like you look at them for 1 second and their armor's all gone. So not too bad. Now right there, you would see the 13 procs on that Thrax, making it not instantly die. I don't know if 13 procs really is the meta, guys. Like it's definitely something you can get away with. If you want the 1 extra shard slot, that could be good. But I mean, I don't feel like it's really like, oh man, like this is not. It's definitely more viable than before. It's definitely more viable than before. But in a lot of these guys, I'm using Open 'em Eyes to actually armor strip them. Let's get to 107 Xalizers, and I actively chose not to cast Open 'em Eyes once we got to this level. So here we are. I said, okay, well now that we're at level 10,000, I'm gonna not cast my armor strip. We'll see if 13 procs can handle these guys. 13 procs can handle these guys, but I don't know. Oh, I apparently recast Open 'em Eyes. 13 procs can handle these guys, but I just don't know if that's really going to be the right thing going forward. Plus 1 shard slot if you are using 1 green tile versus 2 green normals, which is great, but also, like, it's going to require some more testing. I'll definitely do another level 10,000 Void Cascade with Jade with 13 procs, and I might do a 13 proc with a different frame too, just to see how it goes. But overall, I'm not entirely sold on 13 procs yet. But yeah, the overall like enemies' health bars and stuff at level 10,000 feel exactly the same. There's the Torid just chewing through them. Yeah, it feels nearly exactly the same at level 10,000 besides the Thrax Ghost. But I think the Thrax Ghost might be a glitch, honestly. So yeah, kill them like basically in like 1 frame like before. As far as what Jade is doing here, Jade is just basically being a support frame right now. I might have no abilities active, but when I do have my abilities active, I'm giving my teammates shield regen. I'm giving myself... I can switch to the big damage buff, 300% damage buff, or more. And I've got power strength buff, too, to give everybody... Like Revenant would get more Mesmer skin stacks. Wisp would get better moats, and the like. So, hope you guys found this video fun and helpful. I think Void Cascade is doing really, really good right now. As far as, how easy it is to farm. And now they just nerfed the event. This might be the place to be again, unfortunately. So, either way, guys, see you next time. Hope you found Jade interesting. The shield regen buff is really, really good. And yeah, that's probably my main way to use her. Alright guys, see you next time. Peace.